One of the other cities, the second to last one, I think you talked about Dubai, which has been a fascinating place over the past, since the 1950s, really, when they had that small. You put the map in the book, had that small bit, and it's grown really quickly over that period of time. But I almost think, like many of the cities, they have this outer opulence. There's like the big buildings, big shiny buildings, the trade markets, everything. But really, at the underbelly, there's this darkness in there. And I feel like Dubai is one of those places where it has the opulence, but if you look below the surface,
Do you mean
there's some
the
darkness in there.
like a darkness involving the workers
Yeah, the human rights
and
and how
modern,
they
yeah,
treat people
accusations
and
of
all that
modern
kind of stuff.
slavery and
Yeah,
so on? Yeah, I think that it is for me,
yeah,
looking at modern cities, Dubai is right up there as one of the most interesting case studies because, as you're saying, not that long ago, it was a little village in the desert, fishing community, a little bit of agriculture, camels, lineages of tribes that go back a long way, but just not on the international stage. And there's a lovely line from one of the Maktoums. He wanted the word Dubai to be known around the world, and when he said that was just a completely laughable idea. Who would know this little village in the Gulf on a creek? There's nothing to know about it. And so quickly, the idea of build it and they will come, against all the advice, by the way, much of it British. I love this sort of series of very pompous British officials saying, "Oh, you don't want to do that, Sheikh Maktoum. You don't need an airport. We've got one here, up the road for you. You don't need to do that. You don't need to build this. You don't need to build that. No, 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 that's not a good idea at all." And successive Maktoums just politely dismissing this advice and saying, "No, this is what we're going to do. We're going to build Dubai into a world city." And they succeeded. As you say, there is another side to it, obviously, which is the less rosy and optimistic side of the people who have made this happen, and the workers, and the stories of passports being taken and workers held in camps.
yep,
I think there's that view as well, though, is also described as Dubai bashing, and you see in my research I came across some Emirati writers who say this is typical Western Dubai bashing. We've made something special, and all you can do is knock our achievements. You're jealous. You use workers to build
yeah,
your skyscrapers. Why can't we do the same here? And it's double standards. It's Western hypocrisy. So I think that there is an ongoing debate. There is certainly a darker side. You can see the sort of the workers who are at the bottom of the pile, building these amazingly gleaming hotels and malls and skyscrapers for the world's rich, really. I think that it's kind of a shocking contrast between the rich and the poor there. But for me, without a sort of a preconceived notion, it's as a city case study. I think it is absolutely fascinating. And the word sustainability, is Dubai sustainable? Can it just keep growing? If your model is only just keeping growing, how sustainable is that? How many air conditioners are you going to need? How many desalination plants are you going to need? How much power are you going to be consuming? If Emiratis don't like to buy a second-hand apartment, whereas in the UK that's just completely normal. Some of them like to buy a brand new apartment every time they move. Where's that going to end? Is there going to be any desert left eventually? So that and at the same time as it keeps growing, your average Emirati is becoming a smaller and smaller minority in the UAE or in the city of Dubai. So it's a work in progress, but there are all sorts of questions about identity that I think are being posed on an ongoing basis. So it's an interesting laboratory. But what I think is interesting with the historical hat on again is the fact that it is open. It wants to attract the world, and people go to it. And I remember having spent time in Iraq before I went to Dubai for a longer research trip. All the Iraqis were very snobby about Dubai. They're saying it's nothing. They're peasants. They've got no history. We're an ancient culture. We used to rule the world. Those Emiratis in Dubai, they're just sort of nouveau riche. They've got nothing about them. And then a few weeks later, talking to an Emirati academic, she just sort of said, stop that. Find me a Sudanese, an Algerian, a Moroccan, an Iraqi who doesn't want to live in Dubai. They all do. And I thought that was, spot on. It's all very well dwelling on your ancient glories and your ancient histories, but Dubai is here and now. It's not persecuting its populations in anything like the way that an Egyptian in Cairo is under President Sisi, or under the old Libya of Gaddafi, and so on and so forth. Assad, Syria. Dubai offers people a more open place to live and make their fortunes, no questions asked. So, it's a complicated place, but and it's certainly not to everyone's taste. But I just love it as a case study of a modern city. And is it an Islamic city? Is it an Arab city? Is it a global city? It's kind of all of those, and none of them. It's utterly fascinating.
Thank you for watching this video. To listen to the full podcast, click the link in the description below.